Welcome to the third part of chapter review questions on quadratics. We have some questions on completing the square, but before we use the formula of completing the square, for the first question, we'll try to factorize it. So we can take 2 as the common factor, we can keep 2 outside, and inside the bracket, we're going to have 4x minus x squared. Now remember, we're not going to take x common, and the reason for that is because we're going to be using the complete the square method, and in that uh, we need to keep an x term and we need to keep an x squared term. Here is the completing the square formula. And to apply the completing the square formula, we need an x squared term. So we have an x squared term here, and we need a bx term, and we do have a bx term. But the problem is the x squared term is a negative. So what we're going to do is take the negative sign outside the bracket. And if we do that, it turns out that the 4x is going to turn into a negative, and the x squared is going to turn into a positive. Um, because I'm taking a negative sign outside the bracket. Let's try and rearrange that a bit so that the x square is in front, and here we have x square minus 4x. All right, now we can use the completing the square formula on x square minus 4x. So x square minus 4x can be written as uh, x plus b over 2. The value of b is minus 4. So that's going to be minus 4 over 2 whole square minus, and b, the value of b is again minus 4, so that's minus 4 over 2 whole square. If we simplify that, we get x minus 2 whole square, and minus negative 4 over 2 is 2, and negative 2 whole square is 4, so we get minus 4. Now remember, we need the negative 2 as well, that was outside the bracket. So what I'm going to do now is write this as minus 2 and then open a solid bracket, and inside we have x minus 2 whole square minus 4, because I have used that's what we found out using completing the square on this part. On this part, we have found this to be the answer from completing the square. And now let's try to break the brackets by multiplying our two terms. We're going to multiply this term and this term with negative 2. So we'll get minus 2 x minus 2 whole square, and minus 2 times minus 4 is positive 8. And that is our answer. Another question on completing the square, but before we do this, we need to open up the brackets, expand this out. So we have 3x squared minus, if you want to write this by expanding, we can write this as x plus 1 times x plus 1, because that's what x plus 1 whole square means. Then we have 3x squared, and we have a minus. Let's try to open the two brackets. Let's try to expand that using FOIL method. So we get x times x, which is x squared. X times plus 1 is plus x, 1 times x is plus x, and 1 times 1 is plus 1. And then this can be written as 3x squared minus x squared plus 2x plus 1. And because we have a negative sign outside the bracket, that's going to flip all the signs. So we're going to get 3x minus x squared minus 2x minus 1. 3x squared minus x squared is 2x squared. So that's 2x squared minus 2x minus 1. And now we're ready to apply the completing the square formula. And this is the completing the square formula for three terms, because now we have an a, we have b, and we have c. So let's write that down first. So the value of a is 2, the value of b is minus 2, and the value of c is minus 1. And we can use that in our formula right here. So we're going to use this part of the formula. So that's going to be the value of a is 2 times x plus b. B is minus 2 divided by 2 times a. So the value of a is 2. So that's 2 again, whole square, plus, then we have inside the other bracket c. The value of c is minus 1, minus value of b is minus 2. So that's minus 2 whole square divided by 4 times a, which is 2 again. So I've written down all the numbers in. Now let's try to simplify that. So we have 2 outside the bracket. We have an x here. Um, 2 divided by, that's 2 divided by 4. So that's going to be minus 1 over 2. And then we have a whole square plus, we have minus 1 here. Then we have another minus, minus 2 whole square is 4. 4 divided by 8 is again 1 over 2. And we can simplify a bit more. So that's 2 x minus 1 over 2 whole square plus minus 1 minus 1 over 2 is minus 3 over 2. And then we can write this as 2x minus 1 over 2 whole square. There's a plus and a minus, so we can just write it as minus 3 over 2. And that's it. We do not have to expand any brackets or anything more. That's the answer for this question. Here we have another question on completing the square. So we're asked to write this equation, this expression as that. So we know whenever they ask for an expression written as that, we should use the completing the square formula. And because this is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, we can directly apply this formula. The value of a here is 3, the value of b is 12, and the value of c is 5. So we have a, which is 3, and inside the bracket we have x plus b. B is 12. 12 divided by 2 times 5, 2 times a is 3 whole square plus, and the other bracket we have c minus, so it's 5 minus b square, which is 12 square, divided by 4 times a, which is 3. And now we can simplify this. So we have 3 x plus 12 divided by 6, which is 2. So whole square plus 5 minus, that's 12 square. 12 square is 144. 144 divided by 4 times 3, which is 12, is just 12 again. So that's 5 minus 12. And we can simplify a bit more. So that's x plus 2 whole square plus 5 minus 12 is minus 7. So plus minus 7. So we can just write that as x plus 2 whole square minus 7. So we know now the value of p here is 3, because that's what we got outside the bracket. Inside the bracket, x plus q, the value of q is 2. And the value of r plus r, so that the value of r is minus 7 or negative 7. All right, the next part of the question asks us to solve the equation 3x squared plus 12x plus 5 equals 0. So let me write that down here. So this is part B. 3x squared plus 12x plus 5 equals 0. We're supposed to solve that. Now solving that is easy because we have simplified that into this form. So I'm going to write completing the square form, the answer in the completing the square form. So this can be written as that equals 0. Now we need to solve for x. So when we solve for x, we're gonna, first of all, we're gonna remove this 7. We're gonna take this minus 7 to the other side, which is just gonna become positive 7. Then we're gonna divide both sides by 3 so that we can get rid of the 3 on this side. On the other side, we have 7 over 3. So x plus 2 whole square equals 7 over 3. And then to get rid of the square, on the left hand side of the equation, we're going to square root both sides. So square root of this side, square root of that side. So that's going to get rid of the square here. So we have x plus 2 equals, remember when we square root, it becomes plus or minus square root of that answer. So it's going to be plus or minus square root of 7 over 3. We will not be able to simplify it because that's just going to give you a decimal. So let's keep that as it is. And then we can take this positive 2 on the other side of the equation. So that becomes x equals uh, plus or minus square root of 7 divided by 3 minus 2, or we can write this in a better way. X equals, we can write the negative 2 first. So that's going to be negative 2 plus or minus, and then square root of 7 over 3.